One thing that's always struck me is how many questions Jesus asked. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus asks 87 questions. In the Gospel of Luke, he asks 129 questions. In Mark's Gospel, Jesus was in 60-plus conversations where he asks more than 50 questions. And then in all four Gospels, when Jesus gets asked a question, 183 times minimum, he responds with 307 more questions. Very minimal amount of direct answers as we would think of it. He uses questions as part of his way of living and way of relating and really his strategy. And especially for a guy who has a lot to say, that's a lot of questions. I mean, he's a guy who has a pretty important mission to carry out. He's a guy, well, he knows everything. He's the Son of God. And yet he uses questions as part of his way of relating to people and connecting to people. If anybody had important things to say, truths to proclaim, sins to rebuke, it was Jesus. And of course, he did all those things. But what is remarkable is how often he slowed down and he took time to ask a question more than he did make a statement, by far. Learning to ask questions is a critical element to becoming a story collector, becoming relationally intelligent, because it's the specific skill you need to actually draw out the different dimensions of a person's story. Asking questions rather than always making statements or sharing our opinion helps us draw something out of the person that we're relating to see and find and discover their uniqueness. We can discover their dreams and passions. We can draw out what is unique about their personhood and life history. Human beings don't want to live anonymous. We want to be known. We want to be seen. We want to be noticed. We have a deep fear that we will be invisible to the people in our lives. Asking questions communicates that we care more about someone's personal journey, their interests, what's going on inside of them, who they are, more than, it helps us show that we're interested more in them than we are ourselves. And it's so easy to forget what a gift this can be to people. To be a person who asks questions and listens intently. People are starved for someone to know their story. Remember Amy I was talking about a couple sessions ago? Amy's secret, right? She had a secret, and she knew this, and she knew that it gained influence, and she knew it showed people love, right? She leaned into this, right? She asked questions of her small group leaders. She drew stuff out about what they were going through, what they were struggling with, what they were dreaming about, right? What was confusing to them, what was frustrating to them, what they enjoyed, all kinds of questions like that. And when we ask questions and then we listen, in essence, we are loving. Our first instinct is to insert ourselves into the driver's seat rather than allow the other person to be first. That's kind of what happens in our lives oftentimes. We want to share more than we want to let someone else share. And by intentionally asking questions in your conversations with people, you'll not only serve them well and show them love, but you will also help pull yourself out of the self-absorbed quicksand that we all kind of struggle to live in. Right? We drift toward that. We get pulled into that. Learning to ask questions is really just one practical way to take the focus that we tend to put on ourselves and begin to put it on others. It gives other people value. It communicates that we do value them. And when we ask questions, we should be thoughtful and intentional. We should ask questions in ways that allow people to share their story, their fears, their dreams, their lives. We should probe for clarification and notice, even unvoiced emotions. We should empathize and communicate with nonverbals, that you're present and engage with them as you listen. And it's amazing how much we open up when someone asks us a question and listens to us with only one agenda, to know us more deeply. We've probably experienced that. When we sense someone is asking questions with an agenda, on the other hand, right, to push us or persuade us or dictate to us or diminish us or whatever, we either shut down. Maybe we don't visibly shut down, but internally we shut down or get annoyed or something like that. But on the flip side, when the questions are so obviously genuine and we feel the deep love, we become soft and maybe so surprised that it shakes us out of the normal way we relate to others, and we're so moved that someone cares who doesn't even have to. So, practically speaking, ask intentional questions. Ask thoughtful questions. Things like, what is your story? What really matters to you? What are you passionate about? What energizes you most about your job, maybe you ask, or about your life right now? Or what do you want to believe in but can't? You find it hard to. What do you doubt? What do you struggle with? What are the biggest challenges that you are facing in life right now? Or just how are you doing really? Or maybe what is something you want to change about your life? Or what is something in your life that you're proud of or have accomplished in your recent history? I mean, I could go on and on. I'm not saying ask all these questions in one moment, but I'm giving you examples. I mean, ask people what brings them joy, right? What they're excited about in life right now, and take time to listen. Or maybe you ask them, what has God been doing in your life lately? Or do you sense God stirring something inside of you right now? And there are endless questions that if we get intentional and we ask these kind of questions, right, we'll establish deeper, stronger connections. We'll live out the value of love, and we'll show value to other people, right? I mean, these questions are available for us to use, just as Jesus did. Ask questions, be intentional with them. This is what story collectors do. This is what relationally intelligent people do. So let's just pause for a moment and ask, which of these characteristics of story collectors that we've been talking about is most challenging to you? What do you do well? What do you not? Is your challenge to keep your eye on the prize or the treasure? Remember that people matter most. Or maybe your challenge is to show genuine interest in others, that you tend to lean toward not doing that. Or maybe you struggle with distraction and need to work on paying attention and being fully present with people. Or maybe for you, you need to focus your energy more on intentionally asking questions and actively listening to others. Or maybe all of it. But choose something. Because if you want to become relationally intelligent, it takes work. It takes time. It takes intentionality. Sometimes things come more naturally to others than to you. But all these relational skills, when we start to work on them, we can have a positive impact on other people. It can make a positive impact on us too. But if we want to become relationally intelligent, we have to take this seriously. We have to identify where we need to grow and continue pressing forward in our journey of relational intelligence.